Peace, peace, happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Right now, we're gonna deal with the team. Wanna speak on crystals, getting into the crystals. I've been slacking a little bit on the crystal information. But tapping into the elements, this last big video I did, which is almost a 3-hour video on crystals. Y'all should definitely check it out. Where I get a little deeper into the different elements, that go into the crystals and how the elements give off a certain vibration, which I'm gonna kind of do some of that right here again. And also like the molecular structures, the different types of molecular structures, because those are all that goes into what type of energy, the crystal giving off. And, as you get deeper into your studies, again, when we talk about these elements, we'll start to realize that a lot of the popular crystals, think about the moonstones, the diamonds, the shungites, the amber, the tourmaline, the serpentines of the world, the turquoise, larimars, all these different crystals, and a lot of them popular, not just because, we just want those crystals to be popular. Now of course some crystal popularity, comes from being birthstones, you know what I'm saying? And the birthstones in essence has to deal with, a zodiac sign having a certain energy. So, matter of fact, and also having salt crystals, like, when we're born, at a certain time, they have 12 different, rock salts. Matter of fact, let me, while I'm right here, and I think I do have my tablet, which I'm still doing research on that. I keep on and off about it if I get to it, but we have 12 different cell salts, 12 different salts that we have in our body, and depending on when you're born, it's what kind of decipher like what cell salt you have. So just to briefly get into the cell salts right quick, so say for instance, depending on your sign, whether you're Aries, Taurus, Gemini, you have a certain cell salt that coincides with that zodiac sign. So for Aries, you got potassium phosphate. For Taurus, you got sodium sulfate. For Gemini, you got potassium chloride. For Cancer, you have calcium fluoride. For Leo, you have magnesium phosphate. For Virgo, you have potassium sulfate. For Libra, you have sodium phosphate. For Scorpio, you have calcium sulfate. For Sagittarius, you have silicon dioxide, which is basically crystal quartz. So that one I ain't had to do no research for. The crystal quartz in essence is what coincides with the cell salt for Sagittarius, which is silicon dioxide. Then you have the Capricorn energy, which it makes sense, calcium phosphate, dealing with the bones, because calcium phosphate, matter of fact, without me really doing research to a certain extent, that would be possibly like apatite, which of course apatite does have fluorine in it as well, but that would probably be the crystal that goes with that. And Aquarius, sodium chloride. And then Pisces, you got iron phosphate. And then for the sun, in which they got an asterisk by that, by the sun, they got a gold bichloride, But there's different cell salts. And matter of fact, we are in a gestation period for 9 of the 12 months. So that means we get 9 of these different cell salts, but we're missing, at least 3 to 4 of these cell salts. And that's also like if so that's another way for us to do like we're dealing with divination. I don't even say up divination, like with actually like helping somebody as far as like if you know that a person is born, and I can't let's see. So if a person, let's just say a person is missing born on a certain day would mean they're missing 3 to 4 cell salts. So let's just say they end up on a level where they're missing silicon dioxide. Matter of fact, the cell salt for Sagittarius. If they're missing that cell salt, that means they're gonna have like, their body is gonna deal with issues that has to deal with being deficient in silicon dioxide. So automatically knowing when a person born, the straight up science is that they're gonna be missing, again, 3 to 4 of these cell salts, and missing 3 to 4 of these cell salts is gonna have a certain type of effect. Guaranteed. It affects us physically. So matter of fact, that's where our esoteric occult knowledge, and I even say like it's that hidden, but like that, the astrology, what I'm saying, these divination systems get deeper into helping people heal, where it's not just like like, oh, just the stars and just energy. Like, nah, this also goes into the physical body as well. So again, depending on what cell salts you are deficient in, or efficient, lack thereof, however, you have certain, again, certain imbalances, or just certain functions of the body would be a certain way due to, what cell salts are present in your body. So, we do have that aspect in our body, which I looked up a bunch of different lists, and I know how that go, with some of this science that's being put out there, a lot of it pushes towards, a little bit of miseducation or misinformation. But for the most part, I found a common, common grounds where at least mostly all the lists I came across, like, except for the one situation where sulfur seemed to kind of jump spots in certain lists, like sometimes. So say for instance, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen are like the 4 main elements within the body. And then after that, you going down the line in percentage, you got calcium, phosphorus, potassium. And again, I put an asterisk by sulfur because in some lists it's right under potassium. On some lists it's under magnesium. So again, you got calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, magnesium, iron, fluorine, zinc, copper, iodine, selenium, chromium, and manganese. Now again, not placing too much emphasis on like, the particular, artists towards the end of the list, because again, that list may vary, and I also feel like it does vary for people to a certain extent, like as far as like of course we're gonna have the same basis of our makeup, but then I feel like with some elements, it may, depending on like how strong our diets is, what we eating, whether we staying away from the prescription poisons or not, stuff like that, have effect on how much of what elements are present in the body. But again, this is kind of like a like a average blueprint in essence, but with oxygen and carbon being at the top, and again with oxygen, silica dioxide or any oxide, that's mostly all crystals have, oxygen in it in some way, form, or fashion. Mostly all, because again, a lot of them are like a silica oxide solution, so most of your crystals will have, matter of fact, that's like, again, so almost all your agates, and that's why agates in in jaspers to a certain extent, but like your quartz, so popular, and matter of fact, apophyllite would be a good one as well, because apophyllite has some of the highest water concentrated in it. Apophyllite and opals, because matter of fact, opals you have to basically damn near still keep them in water to keep, they so hydrated like that they'll actually start to like dry up if you don't like keep them in water. That's why when most people have opals, and I did a video about that a while back thinking about it. You know, when you have opals, keeping them in the water to keep them hydrated. You know, but you know these different crystals. Matter of fact, a pewter site, you know, has a sodium and magnesium. You know, high content of sodium and magnesium. You know, sodium and magnesium on the list. As a matter of fact, we're gonna get into the effects of some of these different elements. Kind of got into it in the other video, the long video I did. We'll get into some more effects and then naming some other crystals that have these energies. Let's see. Let's go with calcium first, which I spoke to calcium in the other video, but again, we're going. Calcium encourages the metabolism of the cells, absorption of nutrients by the cell membranes, and energy used in the cells. It is necessary for the formation of DNA, the carrier of genetic information, and RNA, the messenger that passes on the information on proteins, enzymes, and hormones. Calcium supports the growth, firmness, and flexibility of bones, teeth, and tissue. It is important for the regulation of the acid-alkali balance and encourages the elimination of fluid. It supports blood clotting, in which I guess you know blood clotting in a healthy manner. Because the first thing I heard, like, support blood clot. Why would I want a blood clot? But finally, calcium is important for the formation of transmitter substances in the sensory system, from nerves to organs or muscles. It regulates the heart rhythm and strengthens the heart. On a psychological and mental level, calcium encourages receptivity, discrimination, and memory. It has, as a matter of fact, I spoke on the like discrimination, like having discernment. You know, like not the discrimination like in a unhealthy negative manner. But discrimination as far as like, you know, when you think about that Saturn energy, like each thing individually being separate and having its own little like, say for instance, the stomach has its purpose, the kidneys have its purpose, the liver have its purpose, all in the same body but yet all uniquely different. You know what I'm saying? And you have to acknowledge those differences. You know, I can't treat my liver like a stomach, or my stomach like a heart. I'll treat my heart like an ear. You know, like it is what it is for a certain reason. It has an emotional stabilizing effect, and lends self-confidence and helps to eliminate fear, particularly of accidents and illness. Particularly, calcium gives inner drive in cases of lethargy and clears up confusion. On a spiritual level, calcium regulates the development of the personality. It speeds up a development that is slowing down and normalizes situations where developmental processes have become over-accelerated and chaotic. Calcium promotes mental growth. Now, with that vibe right here, it speeds up the development that is slowing down and normalizes situations where development processes have become over-accelerated and chaotic. You know, I think to a certain extent, like when I think about that, I think about moldavite, you know, a certain crystal or malachite that might throw you in the mix so strongly, you might need to pull out, like, you know, it's because there's again like the tortoise and the hare and the race, you know what I'm saying? Like, you racing too fast, you're not really getting it all as you're going through it. You know, like treating your spiritual growth as if it's a race, and as if you gotta get to that quote unquote top of the mountain tomorrow and be like, hey everybody, look, you know. It's like, you know, take our time. That was calcium. I'm gonna speak to the phosphorus. As a matter of fact, and I think about phosphorus, you know, the last part of phosphorus is Horus, you know, the eye of Heru, Horus, and speaking to all this energy about setting. Also, and I want to say it has to deal, I forgot the name of the video I did on, like, whether it's ET origins or what ET origins, but dealing with the Kundalini and dealing with the reptilians and how the reptilians like, you know, had they had a different type of blood type, and they had phosphorus within their blood, within their system, and then that phosphorus, like when you look at it under a microscope or dealing with it in a certain way, it'll show the color red, and that same red, from the reptilian blood, and then that that same color went into the name, in essence, for the Rothschilds, the red shields, the Rothschilds, the red shields, the Rothschilds family, you know. Not get into it deeper, because which I haven't touched on, and I'm one of them people, like my information is almost like my memory is almost like on a relevance level, like how long ago have I dealt with that information, so like dealing with a lot of the Dan Winters information with that subject matter, like it's been a while since I touched on it. When I'm learning something else heavy in the moment, like it's almost like my brain is kind of pushing, haven't pushed that all the way out, but it's like, all right, we gotta make some room, so it's pushing some of that, you know, uh, some of that quote unquote older knowledge out, making room, which none of it is really old or new. But anyway, dealing with so phosphorus. Phosphorus is the building block of bones and teeth. Calcium always occurs with phosphorus in compounds and can only be absorbed through the small intestines with its help. It is involved in the formation of the genetic carriers DNA and RNA, and of the cell membranes. In this way, it fundamentally increases the ability to regenerate all cells, tissues, and organs. In lecithin, I always, like, matter of fact, they talk about this being in the food, like soy lecithin. That's why I always got, why they gotta put all this in there. Anyway, lecithin. I know y'all haven't seen that word before. In lecithin, phosphorus promotes the functioning of the brain and the nerves. Phosphorus compounds play an important role in the energy metabolism of all cells. Without this substance, there could be no growth, procreation, no muscular strength, heat formation, or perception through senses. And when with that part, I had to stop, because I'm like, all right, this brought up, without this substance, it would be no growth, no procreation, no muscular strength, no heat formation, and no perception through senses. And I think about Dan Winter speaking on, again, like the Draco's blood having phosphorus in it, but more so like dealing with how our Taurus feel, in essence, allows for us to have perception, to perceive things within this physical realm. And I think about, something being sucked in a black hole. I think about, like, how I say light being sucked into a black hole causing heat, but just like that connection with the light and the phosphorus, that phosphorus smell. But I digress. The latter in particular is very important. Phosphorus helps with many eye and ear complaints and the sense of smell. Phosphoric acid provides the buffer in the blood to maintain the balance between acid and alkali. On a psychological mental level, phosphorus has a mood lightening effect and is enlivening in cases of tiredness, dejection, or despondency and states of exhaustion. It has a balancing effect on anger and irritability and protects from heightened sensitivity towards outer influences. Wherever complacency and lack of sensitivity have been developed as safety mechanisms, phosphorus brings openness and sympathy. Spiritually, phosphorus is the bringer of light. It promotes consciousness, perception, and extrasensory perception. Phosphorus helps us to realize our life through self-determination. Again, that phosphorus energy kind of coincide, because again, with our creational story, when we're talking about the reptilians and this and that, this is also star systems and constellations, like as above, so below. We talking about energies inside our bodies, as well as stars and external energies, like as above, so below, as within, so without. What's going on inside of us is going on outside of us. So, if it's called bones in our body, it's, in compare, they got some type of comparison to our bones, in the cosmos, something that holds the structure of a certain, body together, on a, how I say, on a, star-like level, or, on some type of level, in the cosmos. But the phosphorus is the bringer of light, That's basically like saying, the phosphorus is like the Lucifer energy. And again, it's no coincidence that phosphorus, phos, phosphorus, Horus in the eye of Heru, and Horus going against Set. Set considered to be the devil. The devil considered to be Lucifer, or the morning star. And it's also tied to the Venus energy as well. The Venus energy is tied to malachite and copper. You see all these different little correlations again with the crystals, and with the all the information like comes together in essence. Oh, let's see. All right. Next, we're gonna talk about potassium. Again, that's next on the list. So again, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen being the main elements in the body. Which oxygen at about 65%, carbon at about 18%, hydrogen at about 9%, nitrogen at about 3%. And again, these is rough, estimates. And then it goes into calcium, phosphorus. I went through calcium and phosphorus. Talk about potassium, and we do a few more, then just kind of speak on some different crystals. But potassium improves the solubility of nearly all compounds in body fluids. It influences metabolic processes in the cell membranes, and thereby determines the pressure in the cells and blood. In this way, it also stimulates the function of the kidneys. It further encourages, together with sodium, electrical conduction in the nervous system, as well as stimulation and contraction of the muscles. Stimulation of the heart muscles is particularly influenced by potassium. It also concerned with transportation of nutrients, glucose, to the cells, and is important for the synthesis of protein. The functioning of the pineal gland is supported by potassium in its activity of translating outer light qualities into inner hormonal impulses. So bam, we speak right to the pineal. And when I think about, let's see, sodium, right quick. Potassium. Moonstone has a potassium in it. Moonstone kind of deals with, that extrasensory perception. Matter of fact, opens up the intuition a lot, especially the rainbow moonstone. What else has potassium? Sugar light, the purple crystal. Matter of fact, while I'm guess I could kind of go to it a little bit while I'm right here. But I think I might pass it up. Sugar light. It was on this last page. It's like a purple crystal. A little book tour. Matter of fact, on the side of it is sunstone. That's the sugar light. Where was I? All right. On the psychological and mental level, potassium helps to free us from fears, melancholy, depression, and a feeling of failure. It promotes contentment and tranquility, particularly with sensitivity to pain, noise, and restlessness. A secret tip for morning grumps. So, all right. Any crystal that is high in potassium be also good to start your day off, to kind of, keep you from that old, not say grouchy, but a little grogginess, Which if we're doing our work in other areas, we wouldn't be that groggy in the morning, but sometimes it happens. So definitely the potassium heavy crystals, again, sugar light and moonstone, just to name a few. I know they got some other ones. Potassium promotes a feeling of self-worth and removes the impression of being a victim of fate or of outside enemies. That's very great, especially right now, we're dealing with altar work, knowing that like everything is dealing with internal, and more so like when I think about altar work, not being a victim of fate or outside enemies, but not say that altar work is dealing with enemies or anything trying to harm you in essence, but again, not externalizing anything, you know what I'm saying? Like realizing when you're dealing with any type of energy, you're interfacing with something that's internal, something that's inside of you. That's very key to our subconscious, because if we go to do altar work or any of that, and it still pops up in our head that we are, it makes us feel like we're working with something outside of ourselves, externalizing and feel like we're worshiping something, and we still want to, you might want to do some more subconscious work to really, again, get to that understanding where, like I'm interfacing with energies within myself. Like, matter of fact, I think of, shout out to Bobby Hemmett, of course. He had brought that up, like, well, growing up, like being a youngster, like the certain energies and gods is kind of like, because, we young in our growth, kind of in essence, kind of has that vibe of like guiding us to a certain extent, like on a somewhat external vibe, and I say external, but like it's inside of us, but again, with our own psyche dealing with it, and just and again with us being in the younger stages of our growth, which we are old souls regardless of how old our bodysuits are, but again, just the earliest stages of remembering. So it's kind of like a guidance system, but then it gets to a point where you're grown, where you realize, oh wait, I am God, and these energies are extension of me. So no longer have to, in essence, be the vibe of being guided by them, but these energies are me. So in essence, I don't even have to ask, Papa Legba, like because you have reverence and respect for yourself. You're gonna have reverence and respect when dealing with, your altar work. By the end of the day, you could speak in like affirmations and commands like Oshun, deliver this abundance to me. Like instead of Oshun, could you please? Like as if you're bargaining with some external energy. Ogun, if you don't mind, could you, like, Ogun, be protected when we walk these streets. You know what I'm saying? Like it's it's a different, in a way, you're vibing with it. You want to make sure that these energies are internal. And again, last parts of potassium. On a spiritual level, potassium improves perception, particularly with perceiving light. This promotes intuition and helps us to recognize illusions and imaginations as such. Potassium helps develop a freer attitude towards religious matters without dogma and suppression. So this is great. Like any crystals with potassium would be great. And then just right quick, sodium, since it's right here, because sodium is another, which because sulfur has that asterisk by it, I'm going to kind of just, skip over. But matter of fact, no, I'm going to do sulfur and then that's it. Sodium regulates the water metabolism. It helps store water in the body and thus controls the osmotic pressure in the cells and body fluids. In this way, it increases blood pressure, stimulates the metabolic processes and the circulation, and eliminates dizziness and vertigo. Sodium stimulates functioning of the kidneys. Sodium stimulates the functioning of the kidneys, thereby balancing the acid-alkali metabolism. Together with potassium, it ensures the correct stimulation of muscles and nerves. On a psychological mental level, sodium provides structure. It binds free energy in fixed goals and regular processes and inner order. Sodium helps us not to squander our own potential and inner strength, but to channel it properly. It helps us to grasp situations, conclusions, and inner pictures, and to preserve them. On a spiritual level, sodium promotes a sense of tradition, constancy, and steadfastness. Now, dealing with sodium, let's see what got. Soda light, in essence, the name soda, kind of stems from the sodium within it. Sugar light also has sodium, so that sodium potassium combination. That's why sugar light is a pretty good stone. In most cases, when you find it, it won't be a very cheap crystal. Uh, Tourmaline, which tourmaline goes through different. It has a tourmaline and garnet has like a big family of crystals in essence, with where they have like somewhat of a main basis of molecular structure, or should I say chemical makeup, but it varies in a pretty wide range to a certain extent. But most tourmalines are calcium and sodium base, and also magnesium. Lapis lazuli is another one, because matter of fact, moonstone is a potassium and sodium base. When I say base, just mean like, again, it has those elements in it, and probably at a high level, because when you look at like some of these chemical makeups, and you'll see like say for instance budstone, where it have Na, like, let me see, like where it have amount of like the little numbers at the bottom. Let me not make up anything, but if I could recall, like how many ions or something telling me electrons, but don't quote me. But normally, again, like if you see a certain element and it has like the little exponent, and I said exponent at the top, but y'all get what I'm saying, like the little number on the side, meaning it has a high level of that element, or like I said, a bunch of atoms of that element is within that chemical structure. I was trying to find the right jargon for the for explaining it, but so again, budstone with the calcium, with the sodium and the potassium as well, which budstone also has calcium in it as well. And budstone, that's why I would make a great stone as well. In fact, on a spiritual level, budstone brings decisiveness and vitality. It promotes mental growth, strengthens self-control, and enables you to take conscious control over your life. Budstone, greenstone, the raw piece of it right there. But again, these crystals, again, not just no hocus pocus, oh, you're dealing with crystals, Matter of fact, calcite, it was right there in my face too. Calcite, it's called calcite because it has a calcium, calcium bases, rhodocrosite and rhodonite, is mostly pink because of the manganese. The manganese, matter of fact, rhodocrosite has been known for a long time as a manganese spar or raspberry spar. So even manganese was actually in the name of rhodocrosite, because of the high content of it. And then rhodonite is manganese, and it also has calcium in it as well. So again, you see like a lot of these popular crystals, are not just popular just because. You got prayer has a level of calcium and aluminum in it. With straight up man-made aluminum, and stainless steel is harmful towards our auric field. And when I say that, the thought will pop up with like, God damn, there's so much like steel and aluminum around us. Again, I started to see like how much of they've been creating a situation to just bring our vibrations and auras down constantly. But you know, that's where the word come in at. And matter of fact, speaking though, one crystal, or should I say about 3 crystals, where you like most of the crystals I went through, you know, they were mainly composed of, you know, the elements that the body contains less of, you know. But like so say for instance, the body contains more of the oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. Now for sure, you know, there's no, and I say no, but uh, from my studies, I haven't come across a crystal that has like a nitrogen, you know, because nitrogen again is a gas anyway. But oxygen is a gas as well, and oxygen is in crystals, so it can't make it seem like nitrogen it would be impossible. But again, I haven't come across one with nitrogen in it. But you know, speaking of the carbon, you know, again, the carbon you know, coincides with the melanin. And matter of fact, if you was to look up the anatomy, you know, as above, so below, like the crust of the earth, you know, will have a lot of carbon in it, as well as the crust of this earth. The crust of this earth, you know, may have a lot of carbon in it as well. You know, matter of fact, like on a metaphysical level, not say metaphysical, but like again, like with the sunlight, you know, to a certain extent, it's almost like our melanin comes up to get some sun, like in essence, like as much as we feel like the sun is like causing us to get darker in essence, it's more so like the melanin, like, oh, let me come get some of that message. Let me come to the surface and get some of this message. But again, the carbon is in certain crystals as well, and very popular crystals at that. You know, one of the most popular ones is diamond. Diamond is pure carbon, you know, and you wonder why, you know, a lot of people go out of their way, you know, for this crystal. Matter of fact, jet is another one. Jet basically is 83% carbon, 5% hydrogen, 10% oxygen. And oh, all right, matter of fact, speaking of nitrogen, 1% nitrogen, you know. But jet is almost like a let's see, it's created through the pressure decomposition of wood in swamp areas. And basically, so it's like like extremely petrified wood in essence. I know jet was used to wear in times of like mourning or crisis, like you mourning somebody that just transitioned. You know, jet would be the crystal. Matter of fact, I didn't get into fluorine and calcium, but fluorine and calcium is also that combination gives you fluorite, and that's back to that vibe of wondering like, all right, how does these crystals help the pineal gland when they're made out of the stuff that the calcification of the pineal gland is made out of? You know, because even fluorine, you know, they're putting fluoride. You know, you got the crystal fluorite with a T, and you got the fluoride with a D that they put in the toothpaste and in the water and stuff like that. You know, and again, I tell, and you start to see though, where again, where it's meant for, and I say meant for us, but where it's a good thing to just be open to information and not just like feel like, you know, certain information you come across at the end all be all in that moment, per se. But like, well, you know, it may be a vibe where they say, for instance, tricked us the whole time on some reverse psychology where fluoride might really help our pineal gland. And you know, I'm not, I'm not, you know, just bringing this up on that level. You know, with the situation where you never, you never know again. That might have been a part of the chess game played so strongly where we didn't catch that. You know, they threw away enough of the certain books. You know, some of these books still sitting in Vatican somewhere, talking about how really fluoride is, you know, this and that. And well, again, because we create this world with our subconscious. So if subconsciously we taught that that stuff is killing us, it's gonna seem like something that's killing us. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, as a man thinking, sure. As a man thinking, so it is. You know, in that sense. You know, it's a Bible verse, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, so it is that vibration with that as well. You know, but because in actuality, fluorite, the crystal deals with, you know, focused mental capacity. It's like it's good for amplifying the memory and like just dealing with any type of mental capacities. Matter of fact, speaking of fluoride, fluoride helps dissolve blocks, fix ideas, small thinking, narrow-mindedness, and constricted thought and behavioral patterns. It also helps with organization and the rapid processing of information. This makes it an excellent learning aid as it helps us to use our existing knowledge and experiences and grasp elusive concepts. Fluoride stimulates rapid absorption of information and quick thinking. You know, so that in which I got a video too speaking on fluoride and other crystals that's good for the mental. Yeah, definitely be good to check that out. But again, all these crystals, you know, being popularized, you know, not just because of the color or, you know, the way it looks per se, but more so because of the, you know, the molecular structure and the chemical makeup that's within them. You know, but then you got the diamonds. Matter of fact, amber is another one, and then shungite. You know, and I tell people shungite gonna become like, you know, like gold pretty soon, and it's all in Russia, so we better start getting our little getting it shipped this way before some more crazy shit. Let me stay positive. Let me stay positive. But nah, you know, for real though, you know, definitely wanting to get as much shungite as possible, man. That's a great crystal to have for detoxifying, you know, the body and the energy zone in general. You know, amber, I think about amber, the little kid. Matter of fact, amber good for people dealing with rheumatoid arthritis or just pain in general. And amber is also good. Matter of fact, to a certain extent, not necessarily pain, but like the, you know, the vibes of like with little kids teething. You know, when little kids are teething, amber is a good crystals for the kids when they're teething. You know. But again, you see the different correlations. Matter of fact, magnesium in most cases causes crystals to become green. You know, you got serpentine. I think about olivine or peridot. You know, as a matter of fact, and then you know, plants. You know, basically our blood and chlorophyll basically almost had the same identical chemical makeup, except in the middle of the chemical formula for blood is an iron molecule, and in the middle of the chemical formula for the I'm saying chemical formula, you know, for lack of a better word, in the middle of the chemical formula for chlorophyll is magnesium. You know, but if you just switched out, you know, magnesium for iron, you know, chlorophyll will become blood and vice versa. And again, it's off by a little bit because they do have one little other little you know, because like these little chemical formulas, you know, had a little covalent bond and this type of bond. It has one little type of little bond that's like a little different, but for the most part, you know, it's the same structure. Then you have the diamonds. Diamonds are formed in peridot, peridotite and eclogite rock at depths of approximately 150 to 200 kilometers or 90 to 125 miles. So basically, like the diamonds are made, and again, where that pressure makes the diamond so deep in that crust of the earth, you know. And that goes to show us too, you know, the vibe of one man's God is another man's devil. Well, you know, some people, oh man, to be deep into the ground or be going through that pressure, but you know that pressure makes a diamond. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with that pressure. The pressure at these depths of around 40,000 atmospheres and temperatures of more than 2,000 degrees Celsius are such that carbon that is present in the form of hexagonal graphite is transformed into diamond in a metamorphosis. The mineral is then brought to the surface from the inside of the earth through volcanic eruptions when rising lava rips entire pieces of rock from the deep rock and takes them up with it. This mixture of lava and rock in the volcanic chimney then forms rocks called kimberlite and laperite, in which diamonds are later found. Because of its material purity, pure carbon, diamond can be completely clear and transparent. Its ability to bend or retract light is very pronounced. In fact, it's called as fire, and it is the hardest known mineral. Trace deposits of other elements can lend diamonds a variety of colors. Nitrogen produces yellow, brown, and green, while boron creates blues and grays. Other colors are caused by faults in the crystal lattice. The crystal lattice is basically, the structure. Makeup. Matter of fact, this one almost looked like a little bucket ball. When you talk about the fullerenes, the way the carbon molecules, matter of fact, in the shungite, creates, matter of fact, what's that brother name? Buckminster Fuller or something like that. But the bucket ball, matter of fact, that's what is it? The Epcot Center. I forgot what at Disney, but that big old ball or whatever. But that has like it's a ball, but it has like little faces on it as well. Like that's a blueprint of the carbon molecule, or the fullerene, I should say. You look up fullerene, Fullerene. When you look up fullerene, that'll come up. And matter of fact, just to right quick with the different healing aspects of diamond. Spiritual diamond endows us with a clear insight into our own life situation. It helps us cope with life's trials and tests and serves to ennoble the character. Diamonds bring order into our life and help us get rid of both Diamonds bring order into our life and help us to get rid of both poor compromises and unnecessary rules and restrictions. It encourages spiritual freedom and helps us to develop integrity, that is, to be true to ourselves. It fortifies our sense of ethics and inner justice. Thus, it creates objectivity, the ability to do what is right without prejudice. Emotionally, diamonds help us to overcome fear, depression, and a feeling of lack of meaning in our lives. It helps overcome crises that have arisen through the failure of plans and goals. Diamonds make us aware of the causes of problems or illnesses, and also make it possible to examine them without bias. This enables us to achieve better control of our inner images, our feelings and moods, and ultimately of our entire lives. Matter of fact, you could just kind of see why diamond is chosen to be such a this is a precious crystal, precious. Another thing again, also you got the people from the occult and esoteric vibes that know again carbon is a earthly representation of the the melanated or carbonated people on the planet as well. So because again, as above so below, we are walking crystals, and some of us are becoming diamonds, going through certain pressures, you know what I'm saying? Again, just like a diamond, when you think about over 400, and it's not to we're not like matter of fact, I think about who that is, Peter Tosh, Burning Spear with the song 400 years. Look, we're not getting back into slave mode, but to correlate the stories of it, 400 years of pressure, and again, that's why we know for sure with the the fake Ashkenazi you know, the Ashkenazi Jews in that situation, like, we the real Hebrews or Jews. We went through the Holocaust for a little while, and now we got millions of money, and we still going through shit with our millions of dollars. Which you can still go through shit with a lot of money, you know. So don't, you know. But again, you see the correlation, you know, exactly. Let's see. On a mental level, diamonds help us to gain a complete overview of the consequences of our own actions. They encourage logical thinking and make it possible for us to observe broader connections between things. Diamond bestows the ability to learn easily, making immediate connections between new impressions and familiar experiences. This means that things we have learned can be applied quickly. Diamond encourages the ability to make clear decisions and solve problems. Physically, diamond can be employed whenever insight or long overdue change in our life becomes necessary. In particular, it helps diseases of those organs that have a direct bearing on mental activities. For example, the brain, nervous system, sensory organs, and hormonal glands. Just as it is able to improve the mental control of our lives, it also fortifies control of our body. I mean, it's carbon. Our body is highly based out of carbon, so of course it will help with the body as well. Diamonds can be either worn on the body or placed on the forehead during meditation for the third eye. Powerful effects are also produced by drinking the elixir of diamonds. Diamonds also enhance the effect of other crystals. So, see why everybody running around trying to get a diamond. And again, though, you see these correlations with these certain crystals, you know, within our bodies, and why, you know, why a lot of these crystals are so popular. You know, matter of fact, I think about pyrite. Pyrite, you know, it's like iron and sulfur in essence, you know. And again, sulfur had that little asterisk, you know, sulfur kind of jumped on the list, but, you know, again, these different crystals connecting with certain aspects of our body. You know, on the chemical level, or you could say on the alchemical level. You know, when we think about alchemy, you know, the word chem, meaning, you know, the black, you know, the chemistry. You know, so the alchemy, turning that carbon into a diamond. But that's not necessarily alchemy, but to a certain extent it is, though. When you think about that, it's just like a diamond is actually just pure carbon. So that means just with a little pressure, you know, and with, again, just read, you know, just spoke on how it, you know, in most cases it don't have any inclusions, you know, it's very pure and clear. So, you know, it just goes straight from being cold, like you say, cold like a lump of coal or like carbon, to, you know, something extremely beautiful. Not to say that the carbon not beautiful as well. But that's basically it. Just wanted to share some of the crystals with matter of fact, if I didn't say it in the video, turquoise and purpurite has phosphorus in it. Remember Phosphorus? You know, the Haru and phosphorus also known to be like the shining light, you know, kind of like Lucifer. You know, all those correlations, but I trust that this information will definitely help. And again, just realizing the as above, so below aspect. You know, dealing with, you know, we have certain elements in the body, you know. As a matter of fact, that's why also it's stemming to our health. And again, as I'm speaking on all this, again, realizing, though, and never forgetting that, you know, the mind creates all. You know, we learn about these certain aspects, but again, we have the ability to to transform and change matter in essence. So as much as certain information is quote unquote written in stone, we do have the ability to change some of these aspects with our mental, and to a certain extent dealing with our perception. If we could perceive that we have these abilities, you know, and reason why I said that, because as I'm saying, like, oh well, the body has this much of oxygen, this much of carbon, this and that. We don't want to get locked into, what I'm saying, that of course is something to be aware of, but again, not locking ourselves down into like, say for instance, I could take this flower life ring and make it have the same effects that a diamond has, through spiritual and mental alchemy, you know what I'm saying? But again, it takes that work for us to get to that level of being adept on, being able to allow for the mind to change certain energies, but it is possible. Like, that's what for sure. Just remember that it is possible to do these things. So as I'm bringing up all these little, phosphorus does this and calcium does that, there's also the aspect that our mind could do whatever it wants. Of course, we got a collective, though. We came down here on agreement. We was like, well, we all gonna agree that there's gonna be this force called gravity, that holds us in the matrix. We all agree that when you eat plants, for the most part, more light goes into your body instead of eating, in these body, dealing with this bodysuit we're gonna have is gonna run like this, like, so of course, they have like this collective vibe of what is true in essence of, the capabilities of our bodies and stuff like that, but that's all, quote unquote laws or rules that are bendable and changeable, all depending on how much of your God self you get in contact back with and realize that, like, oh wait, I have the ability to, to do what I want. When we say do what we want, that most people would take it and be like, oh, do whatever I want. But again, that's why also the Christ consciousness, all this, because we're able to create whatever we want and do whatever we want. But again, that's why you start to see where, certain beings have a certain energy, though, that, they don't have to be taught on a moralistic level of, well, even though you could do what you want, that doesn't mean create a war with all kind of people and get all kind of people killed in Vietnam and this and that. Like, it don't mean just do anything like that. Again, certain beings capable of understanding that without taking it straight to trying to harm any other beings. As a matter of fact, I spoke to that in a lot of my old videos, where the only, if we want to call something evil, like, the only thing that is to extent evil is something that's trying to take away the free will of something else. Like, if you're intruding on something or someone else's free will, then that starts to stem into a place of what we would like to call evil. But again, there's no necessarily good or evil, just different experiences. And some experiences may give us, a feeling of joy. Some may give us a feeling of anger or sadness. Some, it's just different experiences. Some raises the light within our body, some don't. That don't mean that the parts that don't raise light in our body is a bad situation. I mean, it comes harmful to your soul if you let it bring you down. But again, there's no bad or good, because again, the situation come to you also as pressure to make a diamond, so it could also be seen as something good, as well. So I digress. Peace. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Peace.